What's going on? Happy day. Happy 2025. It is me and I am back and we are in the middle of an unironic title of Stoppage Time, right? So welcome back. We're back to business. It's 2025. The future is as bright as ever, even if the present has been dimmed a bit by kind of our life experiences and the world. So a few things to talk about today with you to kind of catch everybody up. I also thought it was appropriate and kind of ironic, I was just trying to be a little fun, is that the last time you saw me here on a Stoppage Time episode, I was wearing this same shirt in late December, right before we hit the Christmas holidays, and we were going to take a little break and then be back in January, and I thought it would just be fun to kind of start over almost as if I was still having the same conversation, because that's a bit of how I feel, even though this last 3.5, 4 months has been so disjointed by just a variety of different circumstances in life that have just kind of felt like they have been pummeling us, me personally, but this isn't just to make it about me, but just pummeling us here in Southern California and in the United States overall. But also just to kind of come back on here and give you some context about just what I've been up to and what we've been up to in this period where consider this kind of a hello, I'm back. We've got more stoppage time. There's always stoppage time and excitement to talk about in life on a weekly basis, but also hello, we're back on Entrepreneurial Thinkers. We're back to business. And so those are kind of the two big pillars that I want to touch on. So first, let me welcome back all our Entrepreneurial Thinkers, listeners, viewers, our audience, our community, our incredible alumni, which is now like well over 160-ish plus, really intelligent, capable, talented, empathetic, kind entrepreneurial thinkers. On the Entrepreneurial Thinkers show, we had a little bit of a brief hiatus here these last 6 weeks. So if you missed us, thank you. We're back. We've missed you too. But on Stoppage Time episodes, I stopped making them at the end of the year because I thought I was going to take a little bit of a holiday break, and then bam, we were beset with what everybody has now heard about in the U.S. and around the world, which was our wildfires here in Los Angeles on the week of January 7th, 8th, so kind of basically the first week of the year. And to be honest, that through me and through kind of the collective us here in my neighborhoods, off my game and just threw me out of sorts and off balance for a good probably 5 or 6 weeks. So the fires lasted essentially kind of effectively a couple weeks. My neighborhood, I literally had to evacuate, but then was able to come back within 36 hours because thankfully the fire people at work were able to take favorable wind conditions the night that the fire broke out on the hill behind my house, right over here, right outside that window, and were able to get it out, and so none of the neighborhood was damaged. But of course, you've all read or heard the stories of the just terrible loss, right? So probably 12,000 homes, neighborhoods completely wiped off, 2 specific neighborhoods, significantly sized neighborhoods, probably 5,000 or 6,000 businesses burned. So the level of displacement, although that is like less than 0.8% of the total geography of Los Angeles, and is just a tiny fractional part of the overall population of the LA metro region, which is, depending on the survey, between 14 and 16, 17 million people. It had a devastating effect just on the vibes and the sense of ourselves, right? It was such a horrific tragedy that people are still recovering from and not even just beginning to actively rebuild from, and this will persist with us for the next handful of years, and it will forever change the city. I've made the reference oftentimes over the last handful of months that I grew up in Chicago. As you know, I'm a bit of a history nerd, and there's a great story about the kind of origins of and evolution of the city of Chicago, and there is very much so kind of a historical break point, like a milestone that says there was Chicago before the Great Chicago Fire of the 1800s, and then there was Chicago after the Great Chicago Fire. And in many ways, I feel like that's based on both my experiences, my sense of history, and then just my kind of pulse on the ground here in Los Angeles. I feel like that's about what we're going through as well. There will forever be a Los Angeles city, county, metro region, kind of California before the great LA fires of 2025, and then after. Right, and my pragmatic optimist in me is leaning into the belief that there will be much good and much new development and much better development and better sense of community and how to develop and how to build communities and how to rebuild and how to build more sustainably, more effectively, et cetera. Like the pragmatic optimist in me leans into what's possible always, while being very aware of the reality of the conditions on the ground presently. And I just believe that that's what will come out of this. But in the meantime, it's just a ton of stress and tragedy and uncertainty injected into people's lives. So layer on top of that the stress, uncertainty, and discord that's been injected into our lives by our election of our wannabe king, authoritarian wannabe dictator, President Trump, and his minions, I call them the court jesters of his administration, the billionaire boys and girls club. And that is serious. Like, that is not, I'm cracking some jokes here and being a little sarcastic, but that has also just been had a serious emotional, intellectual, mental drag on our society and therefore on me. And so in many ways, as we jumped into later January, early February, I was like kind of getting ready to come back to Stoppage Time and start sharing my thoughts on a weekly basis. And Lord knows I have lots of thoughts to share with you every Friday. But I was honestly at a loss. There was so much that was overwhelming me on so many different fronts that I just couldn't organize my thoughts enough to think how I could cogently, cohesively talk to you about how I felt about things in the way that I love to do, which is to try and leave things a little bit better than we found it, right? There was a lot of anger, a lot of too much misinformation, disinformation. There was a lot of stuff happening on the fly that I just wasn't certain enough, and I just didn't feel like I had my footing. And so I couldn't very well come on here and share with you that. I'm not trying to hide the goods and the bads and all that kind of stuff and like only project a certain type of conversation here. But I am also always kind of obliged to make sure that I am communicating with you all in cogent, useful, valuable ways in pursuit of my desire to illuminate thoughts about the things that are facing all of us in our world and in our entrepreneurial economy building and in our entrepreneurial thinking lives, but do so in a meaningful, positive way, not just in a haphazard, kind of personally emotive way, right? I can go to social media and do that if I want to. Not that I do very often. But so anyway, so that kind of kept me away until now, but now we're back. And as it relates to entrepreneurial thinkers, kind of in the second bucket of things, there's also an aspect of that related to why we went away and took a bit of a hiatus there. But there also, more importantly, is just a realization, a reality, that we kind of had to take a break. We, when I say me, Deanna, Anna Paula, but led by me, we had to take a break. Like, we had to take a conscious break and a bit of a hiatus to get our business house in order. And so, in this sense, there is a bit of full disclosure here, right? If you know me well, if you are in my inner circles, how challenging and how difficult, although filled with opportunity, the last 6 months or so has been for me, as I have committed my professional pursuits to like literally trying to make a living and a stable business out of being a podcaster. And that has been a very tumultuous journey, as one would expect in any startup kind of experience, right? But it's one that I deeply believe in. It's one that Deanna and I deeply believe in. It's one that I can say humbly. It's taken me months to think about this without broadcasting every week, but I can say humbly, like, we're really fucking good at. And we're getting better at it. We're better now than we used to be, and we're better a year ago than we were 2 years before that. And we will be better 6 months from now and a year from now. But when it comes to the medium and art of storytelling and amplifying the stories of others and telling the stories of entrepreneurial economy building and the entrepreneurial thinkers that build the worlds that we live in and help to take on the biggest challenges that we face, help to resist the problems that try to overwhelm us, work to seize the great opportunities that need seizing in our world across all sectors and segments of society. We're good at this. Like, we are good at this, and so we are persisting at it. But to do that and to figure out how to make a living stably myself, and pay the bills and keep the trains running, as we used to say, and also to not burn out Deanna and not take advantage of Anna Paula, we had to take a break. We had to like kind of stop, allow me to get focused and get our business house in order, allow me to breathe a little bit creatively and just think, as opposed to just being in the production rhythm that we have been in for, God, Deanna and I have probably pretty consistently for almost 2 years, I would say a year and a half at least, been dropping an episode a week in whatever we've been doing. And in some cases, then when we added in Stoppage Time, 2 episodes. So, just incredible growth. But wow, that level of consistency requires an amount of discipline and just sheer effort that Deanna has given unequivocally, because she is such a hard worker and also so talented, as you know, from enjoying all these shows, which are her creation of me talking into a microphone and looking at a camera. So she makes us the magic that we are. But we had to stop. And in getting our business in order, so to speak, that means, trying to figure out how to build a stable financial path. That means that has led to an incredible number of conversations of me sharing our story with people who have now jumped on board, and I hope more will continue to jump on board to literally sponsor our work. As I say, to sponsor my work, to sponsor us and the creativity and the positivity that we put into these shows. And then we take these shows and clips of them and we populate our social media and my social media with them. And we extend the positivity and we extend the focus on love and we extend the focus on intelligence. So no matter what is going on at the federal government level in the United States and the cultural, political war that we're embroiled in right now in my country, we believe what we believe, and we believe in the fundamental principles of the growth of the country and the world that we've always believed in, that I fundamentally always believe in. Our philosophies will not change. They will not be deterred. They will not be discouraged. You will not see us or me in these conversations shrink from the realities that we're facing, because fundamentally what wins the future is a diverse, equitable, more inclusive society. So I don't care what the federal government in the United States says about DEI, but a more diverse country, a more equitable country, a more inclusive country is inevitable. The diverse part of it is inevitable. Demographically, it was going to happen. It's going to happen. It will happen. It will be the reality by 2050. No matter what anybody wants how anybody wants to try and fight that. And so fundamentally, we believe in that. Fundamentally, we believe that the world needs more entrepreneurial thinkers, not just entrepreneurs and investors. Right? And entrepreneurial thinkers include entrepreneurs and investors, but they also include entrepreneurial thinking politicians, entrepreneurial thinking government, entrepreneurial thinking research, education, science, math, medicine, breakthroughs in life sciences, breakthroughs in community, breakthroughs in how do we exist and build locally in community in real life, right? In a world that's increasingly more digital, right? So we are fundamentally exactly who we are and were when we left off with you, but I can now come to you and say we are and we will be better and stronger and better at this, and even maybe more focused on it and more ready to take on these stories that we want to share with you in response to the challenging environments that we live in, because we had to take this break. So I beg your patience and understanding, and maybe in some cases if we disappointed anybody who's a regular listener or follower, or you were worried about us, I beg your forgiveness. But I came on and I wanted us to release this episode this week kind of as a bit of an explanation, because I believe we owe you that. We have these relationships. And so we value you as our listeners, as our viewers. We value you as what we call alumni, all the guests that have ever been on the show. We have crafted in this hiatus, we have crafted a business model, which is very clear. You've heard me talk about the ideas that we've had before in 2024, but now it's about turning those ideas into reality, and we have begun to test some of them. I will write a book that will expand on the concept of our entrepreneurial thinkers conversations, and I will start writing that book in 2024. We will bring entrepreneurial thinkers. We will bring this show, Entrepreneurial Thinkers, that you are so accustomed to and that you enjoy, and the types of people. We will bring that to your city, so we can do Entrepreneurial Thinkers live, podcast/networking events with your help in your city. We will do that with your help, with sponsor help, with venue help, with all those things that are required to make this part of our business. We will do that, and we will eventually someday, maybe 2025, maybe 2026, expand this thesis of these entrepreneurial thinking conversations that I am blessed to have and excited to have. We will extend that into some form of television content. What form that takes and what medium it's delivered by in today's kind of television landscape is yet to be determined, because it's an ever-shifting industry in and of itself, regardless of us. But we will do that. Again, I am back. We are back. We never left. We just needed some time to both focus and heal emotionally, and process all that's going on personally in our lives, both in Los Angeles and in the United States. And then I needed to grow up and help us grow up as a business and focus us and make sure that I take care of these incredible women that support us and that produce this, and then also put us in a position so that we can add to that team when things are right. And frankly, just in the meantime, just to take care of myself and focus myself so that we could build a business around my ambition and my aspiration to do more of this for you and with you, enough so that it's good enough that we can make a living, that I can literally make a living and take care of the team and take care of my bills and live a life that is doing the thing that has brought me more joy than anything else I've ever done professionally in my 56 years, which means my 37-year professional career. And I have loved and been successful at almost everything I have done throughout my life. And I've been grateful for the relationships, the journeys, the places I've gotten to go, the people I've gotten to work with, the growth that I've gotten to create for organizations or for myself or for others. But there has been nothing that has combined my skills, my business acumen, my entrepreneurial creativity, and then my just pure instinctive, apparent artistic creativity as the show that we make for you. So Entrepreneurial Thinkers is a business now. It's in position to become a stable business eventually, but it is a business that is built on us creating conversational art and the belief that if we bring ourselves together with the best and brightest people in the world who are thinking differently and openly and pragmatically but optimistically about the things that we're facing, that maybe those conversations can be put out into your world through you, and then we spark some connection and some ripple effect that ultimately leaves the world a little bit better than we found it. So that's our mission. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for letting us into your ears and your eyes and your screens. Thank you for sharing us in your communities of people. Thank you for liking, following, subscribing. Please do that if you haven't done it already. Please tell your friends. Please share this show. I've met so many people just in this last couple of weeks here in Los Angeles that literally are listeners, fans, viewers of the show that I didn't even know. And that's incredibly validating. So we're in a better spot than we were 6 weeks ago when we took off and left you for a little bit on Entrepreneurial Thinkers. And I am in a much better spot to now begin to be an active voice of resistance and an active voice of context in these shows on Stoppage Time on a weekly basis. So we're grateful for you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we're super excited about what's to come. Don't forget, come back here next week. Find us in this feed because you're going to find the next great show. We've got 6 recorded shows that are already just queued up and ready to be dropped. I've got some exciting new interviews coming up. I've got some people who just reached out yesterday that want to rebook themselves or get themselves booked on the show in the coming months. So we're going to tear through the spring and the summer here in the Northern Hemisphere and the fall and the winter in the Southern Hemisphere. We're going to tear through it with some incredible conversations with some incredibly good people. And I hope you enjoy them. I hope they enrich your life. I hope they bring value to your life and your business. Because at the end of the day, you, the listeners, are entrepreneurial thinkers just like the rest of us. So peace. We'll see you soon.